Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Overwatch League. I'm Achilles, jumping up here on the cast alongside Wolf. And man, do we have a bit of a zinger for you here. It's going to be the Shanghai Dragons going up against the Houston Outlaws. The Dragons looking very good as of late. Outlaws, both Texas teams, honestly, not having the best run here in Stage 2 so far.
Yeah, it's been a little bit rough for sure.
Yeah, we saw Dallas suffer a loss just yesterday. Outlaws currently 0-2. Hyper-condensed schedule because, of course, we do have the Dallas homestand weekend coming up next week. So a lot of games still to be played for the Outlaws, but they need to get a victory here today. They need to start that momentum as they get ready to go back into their home state.
That's right. Now, Shanghai did take a win over Florida very recently, and they've been running a lot of different compositions in terms of DPS. We're seeing them, bring out some of these, unique heroes that are starting to become more popular in the Overwatch League. We're seeing a lot of Pharah for them. We did see Ding on the Symmetra, for example. We've seen them run a lot of McCree. We're seeing the Roadhog out of this squad. So many different styles, and this has kind of been an issue for, their opponents in terms of dealing with the, the diversity of compositions. Now, the Outlaws, at the same time, have been running a lot of different DPS comps themselves. So, I think this is going to be a pretty fiery one. The cool thing about this for the Shanghai Dragons, though, is with the schedule they have remaining, and they're winning against the Florida Mayhem, they can defeat Outlaws and Justice. These are realistic wins for them. If they can do that, they can clinch a spot in this playoffs.
Yeah, could have their first appearance. We're looking good in Stage 1, but unfortunately weren't quite able to inch their way in. Houston, though, suffering some heavy losses, most recently against Philadelphia. This was a bit of a rough one for them.
Yeah, Houston been under a lot of fire recently as well from the community with these losses. The loss against the Titans, the loss against Philly. And, a lot of people saying they should run more triple DPS. They should not be running the 3-3 because they could look very good. But I think that we have to remember that there are certain times and places for the triple DPS. Sometimes some maps require you to match the 3-3. But I think against a team like Shanghai, they'll have a lot more flexibility, generally speaking, because of how, many DPS comps Shanghai is running right now.
And I mean, we just saw the Dragons schedule. Taking a look, again, hyper-condensed here for the Outlaws in the back end these last few weeks. It's going to be pretty tough. They have the Dragons who've been trending upward with that 5-6 record. Then they go up against the Dynasty and the Fuel, of course, for the Battle of Texas there at the Dallas homestand next week. The Charge looking like a bit more of a winnable matchup for them, but even then the Charge looked better last night in their series. And then they have the Spitfire who are soaring up at the moment. So for the Houston Outlaws, something's got to give, and they got to give right now.
Yeah.
They have to pick up a victory here. They have to make this competitive series. Unfortunately, the hats just weren't lasting. Yeah. They're falling off our heads. Would have loved to wear it the entire time, but it's just not realistic. But for the Outlaws, this could be a very realistic series if they can come out swinging. So we'll see if they can do it. Let's go ahead and bring them out on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Houston Outlaws.
What a stage it would be, and what a statement it would be if the Outlaws can have this win streak, tear through the Dragons, beat Fuel in the homestand, and take out Seoul Dynasty. If they can do those things, if they can make what seems to be an impossible task, given their record so far here in Stage 2, if they can make that happen, I mean, people will tell tales of it for years to come, but it is going to be a long and hard road for this squad. They will start Arhan again here on Control, and we'll see what sort of DPS comps are going to come out here as they clash with the Dragons.
Yeah, not going to be seeing Linkser at the start, so a bit of a change here for the Houston Outlaws. We'll see whether or not this one's going to pay off for them. They have to get through their opponents. We'll see if they can do it. Let's go ahead and bring them out on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Shanghai Dragons.
Here they come. This is, they've already broken all their records. They got their first win. They were able to get their first 4-0, etc. But, they're looking for a first playoffs this stage. And given their strength of schedule, or lack thereof, you could argue, there's a real world where if they can get the wins that you would expect them to get, if they can meet expectations, minimum, that they'll make playoffs. Though they did tweet, earlier one of their general managers did tweet that they will be fielding Dia today, so that's very exciting. But
teasing it a little bit,
But not going to be in our starting six.
Yes.
So maybe perhaps later on in the series.
Stirring the pot a little bit, trying to get people excited for that potential debut here in Stage 2. And we'll be seeing these guys take to the stage. The Shanghai Dragons, alongside, the Chengdu Hunters, really have been one of the squads embracing DPS. Outlaws showing that at least for the beginning of their series, with Arhan back into the mix, coming out. We see him on the Brig as well, but the Tracer has been coming through especially for him.
Yeah, he has played 9 minutes of Tracer, but the stats are pretty impressive given, the amount of time he's played. I mean, 19 limbs, only 4 deaths here in this stage, so he's coming out big on this Tracer, and I expect that will be the hero he will play when we head into Control. Very likely will be subbed out as the series moves on, but, he's one of our, legendary Korean players that, hasn't seen much game time since he moved to the US to play for the Outlaws because of the meta.
Yeah, was one of those ones, just people kind of wondering, where is Arhan? But now we finally have him front and center. Go ahead and take a look at our map set presented by Toyota. Starting us off, it's going to be Oasis. Then we'll move into Temple of Anubis for Assault, Blizzard World for Hybrid, and perhaps round things out on Junkertown for Escort, unless we can go the distance and get a 5-map series. Time will tell, but for now, we're starting on City Center.
Just taking a look at compositions, 15 minutes till the gates open here. Arhan looks to be
15 minutes?
15 seconds. 15 seconds. So I wanted to say just a few moments, and then I think I combined the two. But Arhan will be on the Brigida, it seems, and we'll have Youngjin flexing over to the Soldier. So, this is what we saw Shanghai Dragons running before Gamsu joined the roster. A lot of stuff like this. They're still very clearly well-versed at running these DPS compositions. We'll see if Arhan sticks with the Brigida, because it's not completely necessary in a comp like this to have that hero. The stun's just not too valuable overall. High ground control to Youngjin at the moment in the Soldier v Soldier matchup. Makes Muma's life very hard. You can see he's even just contesting him.
Oh, but Rock is going to be able to take down Gamsu. So just find a nice opening pick here for the Houston Outlaws, but they have to reposition down onto the low ground. They contest the cap and starts rolling through for the Dragons. Shots coming out, Raucus just trying to snipe Ding out of the sky. Unable to follow up, actually takes a rocket to the face. Will be able to get topped back up, drops down to safety with the rest of his squad. Sleepdart goes out, tries to find DM, not gonna be able to get him. Cool Matt will be able to hound down that Tracer. Bionade comes through, but here comes the DPS members of the Shanghai Dragons, dropping in. Youngjin picking himself up a triple kill here, and now Gamsu takes down Arhan. They'll pop Cool Matt out, and the Dragons will be able to grab this first cap.
Yeah. In all the chaos, Ding was doing a majority of the damage there, and there was real staying power with how long he was able to just basically be uncontested. Dante's not in a position to knock him out of the sky, so he just ends up doing tons of damage. Youngjin's controlling the high ground still now as he returns to the point. He has this tack visor, and the Brigida here is still a little bit puzzling because, yes, it's good for the Tracer, but you're losing out so much value having this hero locked in for Arhan.
Well, it's gonna be the nano visor here. Youngjin trying to get into position, pushes around the corner, does get stunned up. Manages to find Dante, pushes over, finds that health pack, and Cool Matt almost gets knocked out of that mech, but too many reinforcements coming through for the side of the Outlaws. They do manage to take him down, but they're still going to be held off and not going to be able to make it over onto the point. Nice heal deny there on the point will help DM shut him down.
It's a myth that Tracer is unplayable versus Brigida. We know this is true. We know that players like DM can avoid the Brigida, outposition the Brigida, and get that damage done. And sure, Youngjin was found there. The stun was well-timed to try to prevent some of that damage coming out from the nano visor. And they do kill him in the end, but it's a 2v1 fight. And during that fight, the rest of the DPSs are getting the real kills.
Well, mine's going to be dropped in as well as Rockets. Ding. Going to be taking a little bit of a nap after taking down Arhan, but gets woken back up, and Raucus is going so dangerously low, trying to stay alive. We'll get a bit of healing coming through. Ding still just boldly playing this far forward.
I think everyone in solo queue is always kind of blinded by the fact that you're not going to get play of the game if you only get one kill with a barrage. So it always feels like when you see a solo kill barrage that it wasn't effective. But in this case, that's all you need. You get the single kill, you get woken up in sleep, so you survive. And then the rest of the Outlaws have to reset. They've only got 15% worth of time here to return to the point. The tack visor will be matched by Youngjin. And I think their best bet is to try to tack visor this Far Mercy out of the sky. Otherwise, this is pretty much a done deal.
Well, already that's going to be Raucus taken down. Ding snipes him yet again. Barrage nearly online for him. Will be going low. Will get topped back up as that nano ready to throw in just in case they need it. DM going for it. Oh, gets the stick. Pops that one in, but it's going to be Youngjin stealing that kill away with a tack visor of his own. Cool Matt dumps the bomb, but cannot make it back in. See Boink hiding in the center of the point. Just trying to delay. Right now, everyone's distracted by Muma, but he will get spotted and will get burned down here. Final headshot comes through, and 100-0. The Shanghai Dragons out. outclassed the Outlaws at the start of Oasis.
Just keeping it clean, you know? The tack visor for Dante coming through, just not able to get the angle he's looking for. And once again, Ding comes up with the first kill. He finds Raucus. And then you're just fighting a losing battle from there. You don't even have the ult advantage. DM comes and hits the pulse to kill the Soldier 76. And things start to unravel at the seams there. And in terms of hero damage, right now, 268 to Arhan. He did virtually nothing in terms of damage in these fights. And these are the types of DPS compositions where you need to get the first kill, you need to get that first pick, and if you're missing that damage and you're trying to shut down a Tracer, which he stunned very few times, you know, I just don't think that ended up being the right hero for the job. He will be on the Brigitte in this case. With the composition they're running, this makes a lot more sense. With Raucus on the Moira, they're trying to get the point capped first and try to outlast all the damage coming out from Ding here.
A bit of escapability here. Push away with a fade, try to get out of range with these rockets. Ding straight in over top of him, gets a nice boot back. Arhan in such a bad position, gets cornered. The rocket comes in just over top of the shield to claim the first kill of University. Rocket's still going to be coming in from above. Not building up as rapidly for a barrage this time as Ding, but the damage is being dealt just by zoning people back. Will be able to top himself up to about 70% here for that ult. As Dragons yet again grab the first cap, but Outlaws not really resting on their laurels too long. Push it back out immediately. Now we're gonna see a Coalescence trying to get this far out of the sky. He's gonna hit the ground, Combo's gonna be gone, so now the pocket not there for the Pharmacy comp. But Boink and Muma both gonna be taken down. BDM coming up with some crucial kills. Rock is doing everything that he can to try to keep everybody topped up. Coolmat will still lose out on the mech, which means no defense matrix trying to mitigate these rockets, so they have to peel back.
Yeah, I think the swap needs to happen here for Raucus. When you get that first Coalescence, you get the first cap, etc. Those are the ways you really start to see value out of the Moira. You saw in that last fight, his Coalescence is trying to break Youngjin down. It's the worst feeling ever as a Moira when your Coalescence isn't really doing anything, the fight's already lost. He's gonna stick with it though, it's a lot of burst healing, but not enough for a Rocket Barrage.
Yep. Barrage coming in, not gonna be getting any kills there, but does keep them entirely zoned back. Rocket's still gonna be flying in. Rally's gonna be out from Arhan as he tries to keep everybody armored up, but now it's gonna be the grab coming through everybody. Getting caught by that one. Rocket's just sitting on the side again with the Coalescence, just like, I'm trying everything that I can, it's just not enough healing, guys.
That's the thing, like, in these ultimate fights, it's not gonna be enough. When you're fighting in the neutral, especially when you're fighting mirror compositions, the healing is gonna win your tank, the tank v tank fight. But when you're up against a Pharah that's chunking everyone down, your cooldowns are already up, you're out of healing by the time you need to contest the tank fight, and then your Coalescence isn't useful against a grab.
Shatter coming through, finds Dante. Can't get the kill, the sound barrier will come through from Boink. Grab now gonna be thrown in, Youngjin taken down. Solo onto him. So still a chance to maintain control at this point. Ding hovering above, waiting, has that barrage ready to go, could shut down the Houston Outlaws approach entirely on his own. The shield is raised for Arhan, but it's just not gonna be enough. The rockets tear through him and get the Ana as well. That's gonna be 3 for 1, now 4 as Luffy claims Coolmat. That self-destruct finds nothing for the Outlaws. We're looking at back-to-back 100-0s. Shanghai Dragons not messing around this Easter Sunday. Kick things off with a bang.
Yeah.
Just tear down the Outlaws.
You know, it's about the compositions, I think, here. The Outlaws misunderstanding their opponents. Raucus, 3,000 more healing than Boink right now, 3,000 more healing than Coma, but he doesn't have the heals where they're needed. The burst kills his teammates.
Well, rough start here for the Outlaws. Let's see what they can do when they come back from the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
ult economy is how many ults you have compared to how many ults the enemy team has.
So a team would be said to have ultimate advantage if they have more ultimates available at that time.
Ults basically win or lose you fights in Overwatch, and a lot of ults in game counter other ults.
Say they have Grav, you can let them use like Grav and you won't use your Transcendence because usually that's what you save it for. And then you'll come back into the fight with Transcendence, they won't have Grav, and then you can use Transcendence first and force out other ultimates to gain like a slight advantage. Usually teams will always commit ults to win fights. And if you have the plan of baiting their ultimates and not committing any, you gain a huge advantage if you take a quick fight.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rough start to the series for the Houston Outlaws so far. Shanghai Dragons able to take back-to-back rounds on Oasis to start things off with a bang. So really rough tidings coming into this.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, I think in terms of what we saw there for the Outlaws, as I was trying to, sum up as quickly as I could, is Raucus did a ton of healing. They were trying to win the tank war, but the fundamental problem is the Pharah is bursting these heroes down. You run out of ammo as Ana, you run out of, healing ammo, whatever you want to call that, as Moira, it does eventually run out. And then you can't win the tank war anymore because the Pharah has put so much pressure on. And so, that matchup between Ding and Raucus definitely went in Ding's favor there in terms of that healing output.
Yeah, rough start for Raucus in particular, but we'll see what he's got planned as we get ready to move into the next map. Temple of Anubis for Assault will be coming up.
Yeah, and it's not, Raucus's fault, I don't want to say. I don't want to put that out. I just want to say that Raucus, in this case, played a hero that limited his capabilities, right? And that's what compositional advantages and disadvantages really mean in Overwatch, is even if Raucus plays his best game ever, it's still not going to be enough in this case sometimes when your Pharah is just absorbing all that, or forcing you to use all that healing in that way.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look at Ding's stats here on Oasis, really quick rounds, so still coming out with 9.9k damage, 9 final blows. I mean, the barrages, like you said, not the flashiest ones. It wasn't always taking multiple lives on the side of the Houston Outlaws, but it was zoning them back. It was getting those single picks, taking down the Brigitte, especially such a crucial thing to take away from the Houston Outlaws.
Yeah.
So Ding really doing his some serious work there with his Pharah.
And I think he only did 3 barrages throughout the entirety of that map because he didn't need to use it. He was holding it for the best opportunity, but oftentimes the Outlaws lost one single member. He got that single kill, even with just regular rocket shots. And you can't heal through that burst damage no matter what. If you get caught like that, you get picked, then you have to wait for the respawn, and he's just sitting up there with his barrage waiting for that moment, and sometimes that moment never comes because you won the map that one-sidedly. So great play from Ding, again on the Pharah, making a case that he, he's up there with the likes of Jinmu, in terms of some of our more successful Pharahs this season, Shadowburn as well. So, I mean, we're looking at a legendary Pharah player in the making here, and it's exciting to see more and more Pharah compositions making their way into Overwatch League.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of it just yesterday. The Gladiators game coming through on that Hanamura attack. Saw the Mercies going pretty battle hard there, getting the melee kills up in the air. So it was really solid to see. It's always fun to see the Pharah coming out. We know that Simler especially is a big fan.
Yeah, I know.
Freaking out every time he sees those Nana Pharahs coming through.
Yeah.
But I really like the way that the game is moving at the moment. The 3-3 is still very dominant, still very viable. It's viable in almost every situation, but having I would just not even saying the sprinkling of DPS, honestly, it's pretty, they're laying it on pretty thick at the moment. It's really nice to see. I know that the viewers watching back home are feeling pretty good about that. But guys, we are going to be taking a quick break as we wait for a certain somebody to get set up on the stage and get their settings all right as they get ready to make their debut. So let's go ahead and throw to a break, and we'll see you guys in just a bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are still getting things situated on the stage. That means that we get to return to something that hasn't happened in a very long time. Wolf and I ranting.
Yeah. What are we ranting about today?
I don't know. We've talked about Pagemaster in the past, Star Wars. There's a million things that could be going on right now that we could discuss. So, do you have anything that you would like to talk about, Wolf?
I kind of want to talk about the Outlaws a little bit.
Okay,
Keep
let's
it
do
on
that.
topic
Topical
for a second. I want to talk about their match against Vancouver just very briefly. We might get, It
was a very brief match.
Yeah. Well, we might get yanked out of this conversation. We might end up, having to jump right into the game. But I personally agreed with the Outlaws' decision to continue to run 3-3 against the Titans because I feel like it goes in the direction of trying to improve in what is the more normal meta and what is required on certain maps. If you run the DPS against the Titans, they can just simply match you in DPS, and you might end up losing anyways. But I feel like you can learn a lot from running 3-3, and I think we're going to see a lot more 3-3 the rest of this series as well.
All right, well, here we go. We do have a substitution. There he is, Dia, making his debut this season. Will be subbing in for DM.
So very exciting. He is the last remaining Chinese player on this roster. Of everyone else has kind of slowly trickled out since they debuted last season. And, we'll see if there's... I think the main reason why we don't see Dia played very often is because of potential communication issues with the Korean roster. It was mostly the Koreans who struggled to communicate last season, where they were slowly starting to pop up into the roster. But now it's become a mostly Korean roster, as you guys all know.
Yeah.
So let's see how he plays. He was a legendary player in China. He played quite a bit last season. And, he's good at hit scan in particular. That's kind of his specialty. So maybe Shanghai's got something special prepared here for our assault map, around some of his, McCree, for example, we might see from him.
It would be great to see. McCree's been one of those ones that we get every now and then, but it hasn't been the most entrenched DPS hero. We've seen a lot more Soldier 76 as of late compared to the McCree, which is a bit shocking to see. But maybe, as he gets ready to make his debut, just making sure that everything is finalized as far as his settings are concerned, so we can get him loaded up into the lobby. Gotta remember how you like everything done, your crosshair and whatnot. It's been a while for him, so it can take a bit to get situated, but seems like he's about ready to jump in so we can get the second map started.
He's also technically still winless. Something else to remember, since
True.
he hasn't played this season. His team has taken a win, but he did not participate in any of their wins thus far. So for him to take a win here, I think for him personally, it would definitely be a massive achievement because, there were a lot of struggles last year, as we know, and the Shanghai Dragons have certainly not been perfect this season either. But he hasn't actually gotten to bask in any of the glory. He hasn't been able to participate in those wins. And helping them to get one step closer to their first playoffs here is definitely going to feel great if he can make that happen.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We've, Gregory got her moment, of course. So Dia still kind of waiting for his on stage to be able to bask in that glory, as you say.
Yeah, there's a difference between having your team win and crossing the stage for the first time. Is the winning team will cross the stage to shake hands with the losers, and always having, last season 40 times the team coming to you versus actually being the ones to actually, be respectful to your opponents as a victor, not as a loser. It's definitely a special feeling.
Well, it seems like we are ready to jump in. So just as a reminder, let's go ahead. Get ready to take a look at the map list so we know where we're headed. We already had Oasis, the 2-0 coming through for the Shanghai Dragons. Now going to be looking to push that momentum further with Dia on the stage as we get ready to jump into Temple of Anubis for Assault.
Exciting to see what comes out on this map because we know that dive is viable here. Widowmaker is certainly something we could see from Dia in particular. Youngjin usually ends up playing hit scan when they flex those types of compositions forward, including the Soldier 76 we saw earlier. But, it's a bit of an unknown with the Shanghai Dragons right now. They're running a little bit of everything, from the Doomfist to the Pharah to the Symmetra. So, would not be shocked to see something even completely different that we haven't even seen yet as we head to this one. Like the Ana for Gamsu, not going to happen, but that would have been crazy.
The Ashe. That'd also be...
Or sorry, Ashe. I don't know why I said Ana.
I was gonna say,
I'm still waking up,
She's got white hair, but she's not an old lady. But will be the Houston Outlaws on defense first. So it seems like we're just going to be having the variant here of the Sombra coming through. Muma on the Winston.
Now that we've seen Arhan in 2 maps, the Brigida. We do start asking questions now about Jake's position within the team. Has Arhan been performing better in scrims? Is he actually now the Brigida player for this roster? I mean, I think we have to start asking those questions now that he's done it 2 maps in a row.
Second time's charm. Pop up over the top, but not going to be able to see anything, so Ding just going to be pushing back into the spawn room to swap it out. Youngjin. Is he going to stay?
No. Just a tease.
Yep.
Dia will be playing the Zarya, so, you know, this is a new look for him in a new meta.
Well, Hack going to be coming through, finds Kalma right at the start. Going to be unable to find any kills here. Still playing this one out pretty slowly. You're at 177, Dante, you'll be all right. Don't need healing that badly. Pushing their way forward across the bridge. Shield raised for Gamsu, just trying to keep everybody protected, but Ding's gonna get hacked. Knocked out of that mech very swiftly, so good start for the Houston Outlaws on this approach.
Yeah, that's gonna be a reset for sure.
Still playing forward, so might try to just pistol him back into that mech.
It's gonna be easier said than done, but he does have this position now where he can get it back. 65%.
Yep, dropped in onto the point. Gamsu just trying to keep him protected. Muma coming around from the backside. Ding just sitting in the back room here. 15% more to go. Arhan going to be taken down, but Koma's going to be eliminated. Youngjin with a sliver of HP will get finished off as Muma pops the Primal Rage. Finds the kill. Ding's like, guys, it's okay, I'm here. But just the rest of the team is a bit in shambles here.
He's still alive for so long up there.
Well, he did, but it was a nice little attempt here for the Shanghai Dragons to keep things moving. No ultimates going to be committed from them. Just trying to build those up. So we'll just reset.
It wasn't a realistic fight to hope to win without the Diva. However, they built a lot of ultimates with this. They did force Muma's Primal out, so there's definitely a great way to re-engage here now with the Graviton Surge. Raucus is right on the edge of having his Transcendence. He should have it in time, and there's also the EMP. There's a lot of ways for the Outlaws to mess up this first attack. With
well, there you go. EMP gonna be coming up, and Luffy, oh, he times that Transcendence beautifully to keep everybody alive, but now they have to transition over onto the point. Going through the archway here, make their way over. Riley's gonna be out from Youngjin. Dante looking for a hack target, will be able to find Dia. Getting beamed down a little bit, but he's got the hacked health pack to try to stay alive, and Luffy will get taken down by Muma. Almost still so very far away from the sound barrier. Unable to have that to try to chain together, so the Shanghai Dragons still getting rerouted now up to the high ground along the side of the point. Not really in a position, a favorable position for themselves. Now they have to try to get Luffy back over with the rest of the squad.
They got the trance, and that's what they really needed to do with that push so that Dia's grab can now be effective. Blink has a sound barrier, so this is not all lost for the Outlaws here in terms of ult economy, but this is their chance. This is when the Shanghai Dragons really need to break through, and Luffy needs to build a trance during grab. There's the grab out.
Yeah,
Solo on Muma.
Coming through on Muma, as you say.
And he gets away.
Manages to get out of there with his life intact. Sound barrier used by the Houston Outlaws to really make sure that Winston could survive. Now they're down over onto the point. Arhan with the rally roll and trying to stay alive. Kites his way back. Seems like he's going to be safe. That EMP comes through, catches everybody on the Shanghai Dragons.
Perfect fight.
And that is going to be the wipe coming through the Houston Outlaws. Looking reinvigorated now on Temple of Anubis.
That was the toughest fight for them to win. Absolutely the toughest fight they'll ever have to win on this defense. Solo grab onto Muma. Look at Boink here. He's going to hit the sound barrier. He sees him. He sees the call out here. He comes in with the barrier on high ground in the base of all the enemies. Keeps him alive. He escapes. And they're able to win the longer fight there through the healing, through the shields, into the EMP. Very well played from the Outlaws. Super coordinated.
Well, Luffy gonna be taken down. Boink comes up for the kill. That's gonna be the Transcendence out of the fight as we run the clock down below 20 seconds. Arhan swinging away up in the front lines. Comes up with a double for himself. They're jumping forward. They're looking for Koma. Trying to get this extra stagger onto the Lucio. Unable to find it, but Dante gets rid of Ding. Which means that there is not gonna be an EMP in this fight unless they can extend this to a crazy length, but I don't even think they're gonna be able to tag the point. Coma's trying to make it there. They can't do it. The Houston Outlaws, they bounce back after Oasis. A monstrous full hold here on Temple of Anubis.
Complete full hold. Great sound barrier from Boink. The Arhan rally was well timed. What a surprising result here, but nothing gained for the Dragons.
Fantastically done here from the Houston Outlaws. Shanghai Dragons gonna be looking for the fuller hold, as we call it. We'll see if they can pull it off when we come back from the break. Otherwise, Outlaws looking like they might be tying us up. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Outlaws. What a bounce back after the first map. Managed to pull off the full hold here at the start of Temple of Anubis. No percentage surrendered to the Shanghai Dragons. Now they're going to be shifting over onto the defense, but match of the week going to be coming up. Spark versus Shock. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Check that one out on Twitch or ESPN.
Yeah, check that out. All right, one tick is all they need.
Dia is playing Ashe.
Dia is playing Ashe, so this probably explains more about what they were trying to run. They wanted to run the Ashe over the Widowmaker, and perhaps Dia is just more well-versed than Youngjin in terms of the Ashe right now. Youngjin will be on the Hog, which we've seen a lot from him in the past in Korea. He's one of the most flexible players you'll ever see. I mean, next to Libero. Ding on the Junkrat that he's been playing so much of. We saw it on the attack on Anubis earlier this stage. Now we're going to see it on the defense. And Arhan, we'll see if he cuts some air here, or if he's going to get the kills and the dash resets required to tie up this series, because he's playing Genji. DPS is, it's real, man. We're seeing him. It's not all 3-3 anymore.
Certainly not. Just waiting for them to push forward. That's going to be the dive coming through. Dia trying to bounce his way back up onto that high ground, unable to do so. Arhan does dash right through, but now he's in a bit of a precarious spot. One more right click, almost would have taken down Ding. Rez came through. The Ashe going to be back into the mix, but Youngjin managed to find a pick off here onto Boink.
This is totally fine for the Outlaws. They didn't get any kills. They didn't feed over too much ult charge. But I think that if the next push goes as poorly, that's when you've got to start worrying that this could end up being a draw. Daron's sticking around late. He's looking for a blade. He's not trying to get kills right now.
Well, he's going to be burning down, and that's going to be him. Almost dead, actually. They do manage to top him back up. And thrown in by Raucus. Over onto Muma. He's just going to be zapping away at Youngjin. Trying to duel him, but the hook comes through. Oh, the mega pack, it's not there in time. Muma, who get taken down. Youngjin get a well-deserved nap after coming up with a monstrous kill here for the Shanghai Dragons on this defense. Still so very long to go if they want to complete this fuller hold and give us a draw.
Here's the Riptire.
Tire will be coming through. They're pushing to the back. That's going to be Raucus taken down. Unable to have the focus fire. Coolmat taken out of the mech as well. And Bob, he's just going to be shooting everybody that he can here in the back of the ball.
Shanghai Dragons have to use ults in these situations. They use two emergency ults, the Riptire and Bob. But the Outlaws use the Nano, and Raucus is really going to need to build that up quickly. He's been building it so fast in this series. But you know, you need this combo. The Dragon Blade with the Nano Boost, the Nano Blade as we call it, is your win condition here. All you need is one tick. You cannot be throwing those ultimates away.
Thank you, Captain Planet, for the puns as always. Yeah, not much Ashe play being seen, but now it's Dia back into the mix. Maybe we'll see a bit more of it.
Arhan's
Trying to take it down. Yeah, Arhan does get sniped out. Hog is here. Muma pops the Primal, gets pushed up to the top. Yep, comes up with another kill. Trying to rapidly get that next Bob ready to go.
That's the push. That's the push they needed to, I think, play a little bit slower. Get those blades up. They have it now, but they could have had a Primal with it. They could have had everything. They could have had all 6 ultimates. And it's just Shanghai Dragons one ult after the other, staggering this. If that Riptire finishes, so do the Outlaws with it. So they need to finish this attack now with the Nanoblade before that Riptire is ready. If he gets hooked, if the trance is good, there's so many ways this go wrong for the Outlaws now.
Muma taking a lot of damage, just trying to stay alive. Bionade will be used. Nano is set. They see Arhan. Wait for the setup. Sleep's not going to find a connection. Oh, Raucus in the back! The flank from Youngjin! Comes up with a huge kill.
The barrier's gone. The Outlaws again disconnected in communication on ultimates here. Muma's going to be picked off late too. That's a stagger. And there's less than a minute left on the clock. They hold the critical ultimates. The Nano Blade is still there, but all the pairing ultimates. That's a huge play from Youngjin. He predicted the Nano Boost is going to come out. He knows Raucus is trying to get line of sight onto Arhan. He flanks him and hooks him. Huge play by Youngjin, but now the Outlaws are in serious trouble.
This is 6 ultimates available from Shanghai Dragons. This Goms who gets ready to complete the supercharger here.
That's the
1% away.
The Riptire could shut this whole thing down.
Riptire is one of the biggest counters to Genji.
We're almost out of time.
If not the biggest. We are staring down the barrel of a fuller hold here for the Shanghai Dragons. Riptire going to be coming through. Pushes up over onto the high ground. He's looking for the target. He's trying to find the Genji, and that's going to be Arhan taken down with the Nano Blade. Raucus does manage to find Ding. The Coma is hovering around, and he's going to be able to get the res, and he's not going to get punished for it. Youngjin pushing forward. Sees Raucus. Will be taking another nap, but is that going to be enough for the Outlaws to make their way over onto the point? Coolmat going to be knocked out of the mech and eliminated. Raucus taken down. Lafi, the only casualty on the side of the Dragon so far. Now Dante going to be gone as well. Noma swinging away with a primal range, but that's going to expire. He can't kill off Coma. Arhan comes back in with a Tracer. Barely manages to find the kill here onto the Mercy, but now needs to find enough time for the rest of the squad. He's looking for Ding, but he's behind the barrier. OT going to be taken away. The Shanghai Dragons have actually done it in the face of adversity. The Outlaws look good on their defense, but the Shanghai Dragons look even better.
Disconnected ultimates. I said it, if the Riptire finishes, this push is finished. They shut down the Nano Blade, no supporting ultimates, too much of a disconnect and miscommunication on when those ultimates should be used. Youngjin makes a big play. It's a draw.
It is a draw. Shanghai Dragons still at match point. We'll see you guys on the other side of halftime.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Dragons are trying to win 2 matches in 1 week for the first time in team history. And now, with 2 maps down, they're 1 map away. They can do it here in the second half.
They really could. They really could. It's so close.
I love it. Welcome back into the Blizzard Arena. It's Puckett. We've got Josh. We've got Zoe. And as you can see on our scoreboard, there was a draw. It's Shanghai up by 1 at the half after both maps. And the first map was not pretty if you are a Houston Outlaws fan. So we were watching the Dragons just bring it to them time and time again. Who is popping off the most, though, for the Dragons so far?
I would say that was Ding, without a doubt. His Pharah was wreaking havoc in the lines of the Houston Outlaws. And Houston Outlaws didn't really do much to counter that. That was mainly due to Youngjin just creating a lot of space for his Pharah and for the rest of his team. Meanwhile, Dante and Raucus, they were pushed back so hard, so they never even got to shut down Ding. Ding died Not a single time in the first round.
Wow.
0 times in the first round, and then just once at the very end of the second round. So that's actually insane.
So you only picked the Pharah one time after watching all the VOD. That leads you to think you might see a Pharah today.
Yeah, I mean, Ding is just absolutely fantastic on Pharah. I keep saying it, and so much pressure on Coolmat as well. Who does he defense matrix? Ding or the Soldier 76 that was coming out? He's got so much to try and deal with. The pressure is so insane coming out from Shanghai.
Now, one of the best moments of the day was finally seeing a legend from Season 1. Dia was back in the lineups for the Shanghai Dragons in our second map, and he showed us a little bit of Zarya, but also the Ashe on the defense, and this had me pumped up because I play a lot of Ashe at home. He's shown you how to do it at the pro level.
He really did. Yeah, no, and he looked actually great on that Ashe. I was a little bit worried for the Shanghai Dragons. Arguably, if you look at statistics, this should be one of their worst maps. They're currently 0-4. Now, I guess they're still 0-4 since it was a draw, so they still didn't win Anubis, but you know, baby steps.
Yeah, and also I quite like the Ashe pick on Anubis, because normally you'd play the Widowmaker, but you're gonna get dived a lot. And so you see when you're able to use the coach gun to be able to get away, that's one of the added benefits of running Ashe in that situation. And you can just throw Bob in there as well.
Coach gun, not shotgun. I like that you know all the names. You're doing great, Josh. Keep it going, though, because not only did we see great gameplay, we also saw some smart plays when it comes to the ultimates. How did those play into game number 2?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the Outlaws defense here, because it was good. And so I've got an ult economy by State Farm that I want to run you through the ults for. And so I'm going to wander over to this portion, because we've got the way that this one played out was that the Primal Rages and the EMPs were the big ones. So here's Muma at the opening, able to get his Primal very quickly off. And he's buying time for Dante to be able to get his off. Then in the next fight, when they have the EMP available, here's how Dante uses it. Catches players, they try to go aggressive, and here you can see Muma's ult charge starts to tick up. He goes back in again, he's able to get halfway to the next Primal. So they're alternating these two ultimates and being able to find a lot of value out of it. It gets to the next fight, they've had to pop a sound barrier to keep everybody alive. Muma's come out of his Primal, bought time for another EMP, and with only a minute left on the clock, they're able to wipe them using that. And it's a really nice alternation of these ultimates, buying time with one of them to be able to get up to the second one and make sure that they always have a game-winning ultimate available. And the Dragons really found it very difficult to be able to catch Muma and be able to open a door for them. Unfortunately, Outlaws weren't able to push. But the defense was good.
The push didn't work out so well, but we still have a second half to play. On the pre-show, everyone went with Dragons, but let's talk about the flip side here. How can Houston bring it back in the second half?
I think it comes down to just being able to play the 3-3 a lot better. I've been very disappointed, actually, with how they've been able to maneuver around what Dragons are playing. They know that Dragons are going to play DPS, but they've struggled with it a lot.
I mean, they technically had the right picks to counter what the Dragons are doing, but they never put themselves in the right positions to actually do so, as they are still being pressured way too much. I want to see more aggression from the Houston Outlaws. They have to bring the pace. They have to actually be the ones in charge of that.
I like that call. We'll find out. Can Houston turn it up a notch? We have 2 more games to go when we return here on the Overwatch League.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Things are getting weird up in here. We have a fuller hold coming through from the Shanghai Dragons, which means that they are going to be at match point. Houston
Not
Outlaws.
technically a fuller hold, equally full hold.
Okay, still.
Fuller hold's where you win with it.
Well, sure. That's
Just gotta use the terminology, technicalities.
Things get weird. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, we are now at match point for the Shanghai Dragons. Houston Outlaws have to pick up a win here on hybrid as we get ready to jump into that. Otherwise, Shanghai could just take the series here, and that's another loss that Houston are facing as they get ready to roll into the Dallas homestand weekend next week.
Yeah, you don't want to be facing all those losses. We're going to have, you know,
a nice old look at Ding.
Yeah, we were going to talk about Ding for a second. I thought we were going to have potentially a sub here, but Ding is the Pharah player who gave them so much trouble on Oasis, and they didn't swap composition for him, and you know, then he was able to out-ult Economy on the following map. We will have the sub that I was kind of alluding to. His DM will be subbing in for DS, so he only played the one map. Got a map draw there, not even a map win, unfortunately. Maybe he'll be subbed back in later.
You never know. Personally, I'd keep him in because Ash pretty good on Blizzard World, at least in my experience. But that will be our hybrid map, like I said. Houston Outlaws need to turn things around. It was looking really great for them on that initial defense, but Shanghai Dragons, they came back in with a bit of vengeance there.
Some Doomfist, maybe?
Oh, well, they're swapping around a little bit. Youngjin still, yeah, he'll push back into the spawn room. The swaps will come through. I love Ding probably going to be sticking with the Sombra.
I love Youngjin Doomfist.
Oh, okay, they're still
yes!
They're making some alterations!
All right, well, it's going to be pretty strong against the Immortality field because you can knock players out of it, and then if they slam into the wall, when they're no longer in the Immortality field, they will still die to the Rocket Punch. And it's a very highly mobile hero here. When coupled with the Pharah and the Tracer, it's very difficult to protect all angles as the team that's running this Baptiste comp.
Gamsu around the back of the point, Youngjin.
Look where Muma is.
Waiting. Oh,
he wants it.
Yeah, right up against the wall. Can't quite finish him off though. Immortality field gonna be thrown in. Arhan helping to keep Muma safe for the moment. Driver comes out, keeping him right there into the corner. This time, Muma, it's no way to save him. He'll get taken down. Gamsu snagging that final blow. Still not quite making their way on the point yet. They want to clear the people out of Snacks Ramus. With point gone, we start looking pretty darn good. Arhan has managed to build up an amp matrix, but this is not really going to lead to much you would expect. They will go ahead and throw another window. As I say that though, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a bit of a caster curse moment coming through for the Dragons. As Loopy will get taken down and Coma under fire. Will get hounded out by Coolmat, so maybe they do manage to maintain control, and it seems like, yeah, they will. Muma comes back in, has a very angry pile driver there onto Youngjin, and Ding is just trying to escape, but he won't be able to do so, so the Outlaws do manage to maintain control.
And then a long fight like that, you buy a lot of time too. Because, I mean, the longer the fight goes that you're winning, the more time the Shanghai Dragons are losing. But the other side of the coin here is that the Dragons build the ultimates they need. They're about to have all six, the big six as we call it. And the Meteor Strike is one of the most important ones in this because you could set up a position where they have to run it into somewhere else where they're going to be hit by a barrage, for example. So I really like the chances here. Transcendence needs to be baited, though, before they can really get the maximum value out of these. So how they initiate is really going to be important. And then there's going to be a follow-up grab. It's going to be the Valkyrie first.
Oh, Bubble's already going to be used. That's going to be the stick coming in. DM does manage to stay alive for a little bit longer, but Coolmat finishes him off as that grab comes through. Barrage out from Ding, gets rid of point. The res is going to be there from Coma. Puts the Tracer straight back into the action. Youngjin just hunting targets as best they can. Finds Muma, gets the uppercut here. Will not be able to finish him off, but he does hold on to that Meteor Strike. So we'll see if he wants to swap here.
You have to wonder if, and I think he will probably swap, but you have to wonder if, oh, it looks like I'm wrong, if the communication was missed there in terms of protecting Dante with the pulse bomb, because they had the trance, they still have it, but I mean, you needed him to live for you to win that fight. And they traded for the Tracer, but I mean, this was definitely a fight I think the Outlaws could have turned, or at least put up a bigger fight with that Transcendence, and possibly have built another one by now. So, something to ponder on. As Youngjin looks like he just kind of wants to use this Meteor Strike as a defensive ultimate. If he gets low, if he gets into an emergency situation, he can use that to escape. Especially out in the open like this, it's tough to get value.
Oh, he's coming around the back. It's going to be the seismic slam for stop the Transcendence, and will be able to get out with the Meteor Strike. Now just waiting to see where he wants to drop in. Right in on top here on the high ground, unable to find any kills with that slap.
Does
keep himself safe.
Always going to get more out of his Meteor Strikes in enclosed spaces, and Blizzard World here for the street space, not so much an enclosed map unless you get caught in a choke. So it's really easy to avoid it here.
Raj ready to roll. Full mat down to half. They would love to get rid of that mech before he invests the ultimate here. Full mat pushing forward. D-Matrix gonna be used. He's gonna go ahead and drop in. Raucous disappears, but so does Ding as he gets popped up into the sky. Coolmat will use that self-destruct, manages to find Comas. The pharmacy duo gonna be dismantled, and Boink manages to take down DM, so things looking pretty good as the Outlaws try to stabilize. Hack onto Youngjin means he can't do squat, so will get taken down.
As much as I've been in love with Youngjin's Doomfist since the Panthera days, it's time to swap composition. They had an ult advantage with what they were running, and I think that has expired. You know, it's gone bad. It's no longer finding utility here. They're up against an EMP. And, I mean, they're not going to go into 3-3, which I think they want to do. They're going to go into, or should be want to do, they're going to go into kind of Sombra Pharah here. Strong if you can get those kills, if you can continually hit the targets, but there's so many places to hide against the Pharah here in this open space.
DM going to be dropping down. Goes in that EMP. Raucous getting some armor out from the rally, means that he can stay alive for a little bit longer. Now, counter EMP does come through, but it's going to be Raucous taken down to the end. Ding able to find that kill. Now Muma eliminated as well. Ding just pushing his way back to safety as the cart continues to inch forward, being escorted here by Luffy. Rolling up closer and closer to be the minute 25 left in the clock. Will finally be contested right here at the last second. They jump forward. Muma gets the tag. They stop it, but Coolmat gets melted out of that mech, and now the barrage, I was going to say, could come in for free, but Ding will get hacked for the moment at least.
And still hitting those shots.
Yep, they get the stun. That's going to be Boink taken down. So far, Luffy going to be the only casualty on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. The Outlaws desperately trying to hold it right here. The barrage going to be coming through. Unable to find the kills. Raucous manages to find the snipe. It's the orb to the face there onto the Pharah. Now he's out of the mix, and Raucous is just taking names to the back line.
Stabilize if he gets the trance, but he's going to die.
Yeah, manages to find another one here. Sentinel is going to be taken down. They're still trying to play up here onto the card. That's going to be the EMP coming through, catching the remaining members here by the Shanghai Dragons. Arhan going to be taken down. Youngjin traded out as both Briggs will be eliminated. DM has to throw the translocator over to the side, trying to get out to safety. We'll get top back up. Koma comes back through with the pocket healing. The mines in from Gamsu, manages to find a kill onto Boink. Bomb going to be dumped by Coolmat. Gamsu wraps around the back to try to stay safe, but now we're down to 25 seconds. The cart's still just 2 meters away.
This is
Shanghai
the series.
Dragons, they have to get this pushed in.
This is the series we thought we'd see. Scrappy, non-stop team fighting. But they hold, you know, they survived. Raucous got a trance, he's about to have another one. They have both support ultimates here. Shanghai's just swapping comps now. They're playing for C, but they gotta take B first before they're even close to getting DM on a Graviton Surge. Gamsu's hacked, he's the target here. Valkyrie's out, and they don't have a high ground position to fight for, or fight from rather, because the Outlaws have already moved back.
Yep, Youngjin getting tagged up. Sound barrier going to be in from Boink. Raucous holding on to the Transcendence as well. Gamsu's already going to be eliminated. Muma trying to push him up the high ground, manages to displace Ding. Now just going to be spamming away here onto the MS. He's going to have the drop down, trying to keep this thing contested. All on his lonesome. They push him further away. OT will tick down. They get 2 meters away, but the Houston Outlaws again looking good on defense.
You know, there's a limit to creativity. There's a limit to what you could do with these compositions the Shanghai Dragons are running. And now we have to start wondering, are they incapable of running the 3-3 because they refuse to do so? And it comes back to bite them.
Well, Houston Outlaws getting ready to go on the attack. Let's see what they can get done when we come back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Houston Outlaws again looking pretty good on the defense. They deny the point B take away from the Shanghai Dragons on their attack. But we just saw Temple of Anubis a little bit ago, so I'm still waiting with bated breath to see how this defense from the Dragons will go.
I don't think we're going to see something as complicated as what we saw with the Ash Junkrat defense from the Dragons here on Blizzard World, but you know, there was a lot of, I think, hesitation around running a more normal 3-3 to get B.
Well, of course, guys, make sure if you haven't already to go over to overwatchleague.com/allstars and get your votes in. See if you can get your favorite players up on the stage as they duke it out against each other. All-Stars coming up pretty quickly after the stage 2 concludes, so not too much time left.
The Shanghai Dragons are running the Reinhardt Zarya with the Sombra variation here versus Arhan's Genji. We might see that swapped as soon as they identify what this is, and that is going to be the case. We see Arhan already hopping back towards the spawn, and we will see him probably swap to Brigitte. But I wonder how competent the Dragons will play around this composition, because they've done so much, you know, but they're avoiding it this stage, and I wonder why. Perhaps they're, you know, not feeling like they're up to, you know, top standard on it right now, but I think they're very good at this, and Ding is a great Sombra. See how this works out.
Well, Rock is going to be taken down. Lippy finds a very nice starting pick. As Dante just tries to make it out with his life intact. Charge for it very aggressively from the Dragons. Everybody coming in behind Gamsu. They managed to pick off Dante. Now Muma will very well disconnected from the rest of his squad.
Now, it's really smart for the Outlaws to disengage immediately because they don't want to be feeding off ult charge after that initial pick onto Raucus. Muma's going deep. He's going to try to come in for, you know, basically a flank or pincer type tactic here.
He made it far enough away. Yeah. They can't hunt him forever because otherwise he's going to surrender control of the point.
I don't know about coming in at that angle, though. He's already used his cooldown, so the Dragons know they're completely safe now. They can play more aggressively. Loopy's looking for an angle. Should be back ready for a jump now, though.
Yeah, buys him a little bit more time. Discord Orange going to be coming through. Arhan going to be taken down as Gamsu finds the kill. TM holding on by a sliver of HP. Will get topped back up and remain safe. Jump comes through, but Muma going to be hitting the ground dead. And the Shanghai Dragons, they don't lose anybody despite the HP bars flashing dangerously low.
I think if Muma had tried to come in with a jump from behind at the same time the Outlaws were attacking, there would have been so much pressure on Luffy. He wouldn't have been able to build a Transcend. Might have gotten picked. But they lost the tank battle because he had that jump hack on cooldown when the fight ensued. The Shanghai Dragons saw, they leaped in back into that little doorway, and they were like, well, this is the time to engage. They have the EMP now as well, and there's no Transcendence to counter it, so I don't think this is the one. This is not the push.
Yeah, already EMP going to be used. Only finds Muma. Point going to be stunned up, but that's going to be a pin coming through from Gamsu.
Ooh, and the primal commitment.
Yeah.
Really going to need to get value out of that, and I just don't think it's going to happen.
He's trying to get the smack off, but Gamsu, he's sitting on the ledge. Can they kill him? No, they can't. He survives. Doing his best bumper impression. Gamsu stays in it.
This is egregious ultimate usage. This is what the Outlaws have been struggling with so much on these attacks, is committing ultimates after these fights. He was the only one hacked because they wanted to prevent the primal. We're going to take a look at this again. But he was the only one hacked, as you can see, so he couldn't primal. Shatter comes through, they DMAC the Diva. But he primals afterwards because he feels so liberated. The hack wore off, I suppose, but there was no way he was going to turn that fight.
All right, well, that's going to be the grab. Coming through. Transcendence is down from within, trying to keep everybody alive. Bomb thrown down by Colmat right up into the front. Going to be unable to find any kills. Now the responding grab comes through from DM. The trance is there from Raucus. No one going to be going down yet, but that's going to be the EMP dump coming through from Ding. It catches absolutely everyone. And maybe, just maybe, we're looking at another full hold at the hands of the Shanghai Dragons.
It looks that way.
And remember, if they close this, that's the series done. The Houston Outlaws will not be able to get a win. They have to cap A, they have to push to B if they want to keep their hopes alive.
Muma, he did swap to Reinhardt after using the Primal. That makes it less, you know, I feel like you could accept it a lot more. Don't know if that was the original plan or not. But now he has to challenge Gamsu, who has a Shatter before he does. So he's going to try to look to get into a position where he can hit a Fire Strike to match that Shatter. They only have the Sound Barrier here in terms of lasting power, and it's their best tool to win the longer fight. Muma's gonna have to win the tank war through that sound barrier. The same is true of Dante versus DM.
Well, Gamsu going on the offensive here, drops down. Sound barrier comes out from point.
Early.
And the Shatter doesn't hit anything, so Gamsu coming up short on that one.
Muma's gonna
Gives
have
Muma
his.
a second lease on life. Gamsu's gonna have to get the shield raised to block this one out. Grab comes through, DM wrapping around the backhand side, gets a flank, tries to surprise him. Arhan gonna be taken down. Dante going lower and lower, the EMP gonna keep coming through. Again, they chase forward. Ting gets himself a double. The sweep comes in as Coolmac gets cleaned up on the point, and that will be the full hold.
The drop down from Gamsu, the Shatter hits nothing, but what he accomplishes is he baits out the barrier. In that moment, Luffy's able to build 50% of a trance, and his Transcendence out-heals the Outlaws. And it's that play, Gamsu, that forces the barrier, that wins them this defense, and wins Shanghai this series.
Shanghai Dragons, they take the victory, but there's still one more map to be played. Let's see if the Houston Outlaws can spare their blushes when we come back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That is the series going the way of the Shanghai Dragons. Still one more map to be played, so Houston, maybe they can pick up a win, but I think we have to have a little chat first.
Yeah, I think so.
There's been some really weird ult usage coming through from the Houston Outlaws. We just ran an ult economy video before. Their players are featured in it. You guys go back and watch the video that you were a part of because you're making some pretty egregious errors when it comes down to the ult usage.
I mean, the thing to remember too about all of this is if you mess it up, you know, like for example, if the Shatter comes through and they don't use the sound barrier and the Shatter's a big one, it's hard to know in that exact moment that the sound barrier is basically used too early. It's hard to know. I said he built 50% of a trance, but he only built 30. It's hard to know Luffy's gonna build that in about 5 seconds and then out-heal you in the ensuing team fight. These are decisions that you make on the fly in the moment, but they have long-lasting consequences. And sometimes playing safer as you're approaching so that you know there's no way a drop-down Shatter can hit you is the proper response. Not about, you know, the sound barrier usage there in the end. Sometimes it's about preventing that possible scenario where you would need the sound barrier. You've got to have, that's your best tool, that's your best ultimate. It's got to be hitting it. You've got to be hitting it on the point, in the fight, in the moment that wins you the map, or at least extends the map for you, since they would have had to push basically all the way to B. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like the Dragons are in their heads since the beginning of this series, and they're shutting down these ultimates, are forcing them to use them at weird times. And, you know, when we go back to Anubis, there was a lot of disconnect there in terms of the ultimates as well. Even Muma's Primal that we saw, I mean, you know, whether he was always planning to swap to Ryan or not, we'll never know, but if he was gonna maybe stay, then that would not have been correct.
Yeah, just, I mean, heartbreaking and soul-shattering that he couldn't even get Gamsu off the map, and then he survives in the end of it all as well. So just rough stuff. I'm not trying to kick a team while they're down. I want the Outlaws to do better. That's all. I'm frustrated because I want all the teams to be playing at the highest level that they can. It just seems like the Houston Outlaws are unable to get there here today.
Yeah.
Shanghai Dragons just have their number.
it's tough to come off of all these losses against really strong opponents, you know, so far going into your home game, you know?
Yeah.
And we will have Linkser subbed in now over Arhan.
Yeah, we'll be coming through with Oasis. I mean, plenty of DPS on the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but a bit surprising that we didn't get to see him earlier on.
There's his girlfriend.
But, standing by, watching in the crowd. We'll see if he can pick up a win here at the end with this map win, at least, you know.
It's always the biggest buff you're going to get, right? Is having that support right there in the front row. We'll see if he can bring it back here. It's only a -1 score they'll end up with in this loss if they're able to take the final map, since they were able to, you know, since it was a draw, not a loss on Anubis, let's say, because they weren't the ones to draw it, it was Shanghai. But either way, you know, for the Outlaws here, mentality-wise, it's tough to all be in the right spot after some losses like this. And you know, Arhan, remember Arhan, who was in there playing Brigitte over Jake, which is again something that seems like it's becoming the norm rather than something they're kind of flexing based on DPS. He's also one of those guys in that position who's the only Korean on an all-Western roster. So, you know, that can create communication problems. They've got Linkser in now. Maybe it'll look a little cleaner.
Well, it will be Junkertown, so we can expect some Widow, I'm sure,
absolutely,
from Linkser coming in.
So it's definitely what we're expecting to see.
More DPS-centric here, for sure. Shanghai Dragons going to be feeling right at home. Houston Outlaws getting ready to bust out some of their own. Linkser already showing us the Widow as they get set up on defense.
Dragons will, of course, identify the composition before they fully decide to roll out with the comp that they want to run. But I think there's a real possibility we do see a double sniper here. But I think it's a stronger possibility we see more of a 3-3 with a, you know, you can run it with the Sombra or you can run it with the Widow. Like, Ding can run either, with the rest of the comp kind of falling in line. We'll have to see it first before they can fully decide. Or perhaps they're just going to blind Pirate Ship.
Waiting on the setup here. Gamsu pushing out the gates.
It's tough to get value out of the Widow against a composition like this because of the barriers, the shields here. You know, it's tough to get an angle, and all these heroes are pretty tanky on top of that. So perhaps just expecting, as everyone did, that when Linkser subbed in, you know you're going to get the Widow.
Yep. Here, a hook coming through. It'll be Raucous managing to find it. Doesn't lead to any kills, but Ding dangerously low. The shot's coming in. Immortality Field will be used. Headshots flying through, but unable to confirm those kills. Just going to be chunking them down to 40 HP.
Incredible
Card continues
damage,
to roll,
but no kills, and that's the thing. Widow, doesn't matter how much damage you do if you don't secure the kills. And Coolmat's demec'd. This just looks like a slide into A. No problems, no questions asked. They countered the Widow, and the Immortality Field's all they needed.
I mean, they have to play forward, but Raucous is going to be taken down. Now Boink having to cheat up and tag in onto the card. Red's going to be coming through, but that's going to be the whole hog out. Nice hook will interrupt here for Youngjin, but Raucous going to get snatched up, and DM scoops the kill.
Always hook second. That's a general rule of thumb in terms of the Roadhog matchup.
Yep.
If you hook second, you're going to win.
Since the beginning of time.
Since the beginning of time, as it was in the beginning, is now will be forever, as they say. Well, you know, up here is Gamsu, and they're just going to try to set up another position for the Bastion for this first corner. While they control this corner, this is going to work, and the card's going to roll for free. Once they lose this corner, they'll probably change up composition.
Supercharger nearly ready to go. That's going to be terrifying. Well, EMP as well. Bit of a jump scare coming through. Will lead to Coma getting taken down, and Linkser in the back, taking some shots. It's a nice headshot here onto the mech, and actually pops him out. He's going to say, he's got 1 HP. Linkser, you madman!
Insane plays from Linkser.
Unbelievable.
Oh man. Now he's down to 8. What's he gonna do this time?
I don't know, but the lower his health is, the more damage he does. He's got a rage bar or something.
Oh, finds a cloaked Ding there.
Yeah, body shot onto Ding. Forces him to jump back, so Translocator gonna be on cooldown now.
Nice halt too there from Muma to actually disrupt them from not channeling or charging, but contesting the high ground. They won't be able to do it without resetting here because of that knock off the top. Things are just going to stick with this Widow. It's going to get less and less impactful as time goes on, but he's got a good angle.
Yeah, and behind the shield, EMP going to be coming through it again. That's going to be catching pretty much everybody other than Ding. And the whole hog just melts people.
Linkser waves. He just watched it happen. He added a little bit of damage in there.
Yeah, clean sweep. Get some swaps here for the Shanghai Dragons. So the 3 ult investment doesn't feel as bad for the Houston Outlaws, and Linksu just takes out Luffy, so.
Yeah, we might get a replay of that one, yep.
It's gonna be Raucous here with the whole hog.
Yep. Well, as you can see, once the barrier's down in the top corner.
Man.
Yikes.
What a brutal spot to be in.
Well, the problem for the Shanghai's composition is it looks like Linkser might have taken out Coma here now. The problem is you can't get out of the gates because Linkser's got line of sight on you. This normally doesn't happen. The defending team usually doesn't get this control over this area because usually the attacking team takes it and you never regain it, but they did through that EMP. And Ding can't even get to people to build EMP. He's only halfway there. He's going to be reset here once again, it looks like. And this comp just isn't functioning as it's supposed to. And sometimes you stick on a comp like this too long. I don't know, man. I mean, they've got a good time bank, but this next EMP fight has to be a big one. But the Outlaws are already so spread out with the control they have.
Ding gets shut down here. Oh, Raucous! They push him outside.
That's a
be able to
start.
take a breather, trying to stay alive, but there's just too much pressure coming in. But Linkser again manages to find a pick as Luffy's going to be taken down, further delaying that Transcendence. Say desperately need as there's getting ready to be another EMP through from Dante. Speaking of EMPs, one's going to be coming in. That's going to be Ding dumping it in. That's going to lead to Muma and Boink taken down. So finally some breathing room for the Shanghai Dragons as they get the cart rolling. Houston Outlaws, though, plenty of opportunities to try to stabilize again. Linkser gets the point blank shot on the Ding. Every time you try to corner this guy, it results in death. Just leave him be. Run away, Youngjin. Run away.
Run away, just let him be. Just let him reset, just let him swap heroes. All right, well, looks like he's gonna try to flank from behind, but Ding is watching.
Oh. Is it safe? Is it safe to poke my head out? It's a lot of damage on the Linkser. This time, can he get the shot? Jumps up the top with a grapple. He'll get taken down. But in the meantime, Dante, he's gonna be landing a 5-man EMP, including Luffy. So no chance for that Transcendence to come out. They do manage to trade back onto Muma and Colmat, however, so the cart continues to advance. Rock is going to be trying to delay, but he gets hacked, can't take a breather, gets taken down. And the Shanghai Dragons, their time gets delayed significantly, but they roll into beat with 5 ults in the back.
And it was a 6v5 fight with Linkser dying. He has to swap over to the Brigida now. And that's, you know, he was doing so well when they had that unusual control over the high ground just outside of A. That almost never happens for the defenders, so he looks like a god in those moments where he's sniping the supports that are out in the open. But in these chokes, you know, the Widow loses value against a comp like what the Shanghai Dragons are running here. So he's got to swap over to, well, he was briefly on Brigida. He's going to give that to Dante now, and he'll be on this Aria. But this EMP fight, it's not going to be a 1-1 for the Houston Outlaws, I can tell you that much.
Drop down comes through, 5 members going to get caught. Youngjin, however, taken down. Linkser does manage to find the first kill, but Coolmat will get demeched.
Well, I mean, I guess Caster Curse, I don't know.
The cart's still advancing, though. So that's the problem for the Houston Outlaws. The kill's looking good, but they need a lot more than that. Heal Deny goes through on Kamsu. He just goes ahead, peels back, now charges forward. Helps come up with a few extra kills. The cart will start rounding this very long and final corner. Rock is going to get hounded down. High energy for DM means that's a dead Ana.
The kill advantage was certainly in favor of the Outlaws there, but yeah, I mean, the fight was still technically won by the Dragons because of the positional advantage they gained and then used with the ultimates they still had, the grab coming through to close it all out. They only used the EMP previously, then the grab comes through. Now for the Outlaws, they need this nano boost to get value. There it is.
Bomb going to be coming through, looking for a pick off, unable to find one. Heal Deny's out on a Youngjin, he'll go low. Boink manages to find that kill. Muma trying to stay alive, but will get taken down. One final hammer swing from Kamsu finishes him off. No one's on the card at the moment. It is just so very close. Coma finally realizing, hey, we should win the map. You know, we should finish this, but as I say that, Raucous comes back in. Bionade takes down one. Luffy will be lost as well. So good kills here for the Houston Outlaws as they're stabilizing just as the cart gets to its final couple meters.
He's looking at the back door. That's just not going to happen. It's kind of ironic that the fact that no one was on the cart is why the Outlaws actually get the respawns and survive.
Don't move. Don't make any noise, Coma. Oh no, they spotted him.
He's going straight to the Mega.
He's out. He's all right.
He actually doesn't grab the Mega because he wants the extra ult charge from the healing. And for the Dragons now, I mean, this is still winnable. They've got to grab, but Boink's got the sound barrier. And he didn't use it early. He didn't waste it this time. He's got the proper response. And Luffy is going to still have to build that transfer. He wants to have the last ult in the fight, the last healing ult.
Majority of the team got their way over onto the other side of the high ground. Kamsu dropping down.
Luffy 30% away.
Cart forward again. Grab going to be thrown in. Manages to find Coma. Trying to burn him down. He's going lower and lower. And Muma pushes forward, gets a 2-for-1 special with the swing. Takes him down, but Linkser and Muma going to be on the exchange. Shatter comes down. Cool Matt hits the ground, gets popped out of the mech. Has to use the self-destruct to buy a bit more time. Finds the kill on Anubis, who's trying to get back into the mech and tag onto the cart, but he just can't do it in time. The Shanghai Dragons will be able to finish their push here on Junkertown, but the defense really was coming alive for the Houston Outlaws.
I think the Outlaws thought in that fight, because they waited so long to grab, that was such a smart play. They put Linkser on the Zarya. He comes in with a late grab there. They thought, okay, if we win this fight like this late into the fight, then they can't re-aggress onto the point. They're gonna have trouble touching it, and they're just gonna, even though they have more ults than us, they're gonna lose, you know, multiple 6v2 fights as they're all streaming over to the cart. But it was Ding who actually survived and made the choice to go for an EMP, because he simultaneously realized that we have to use our ults now, even though we're down on members, because there is no way we win this and finish this if we do come back from spawns. It has to be now, it has to be in this moment. And they do it, you know, before overtime, 2.6 seconds on the time bank. Not always as significant on Escort, but very much a snap decision from Ding and the rest of the Shanghai Dragons to commit ults and try to win that fight instead of just seceding the point and going to try to rush back on respawns, which a lot of teams would have done in that moment. In that panic moment where you're not sure exactly how much time you have. So, good plays on both sides there, but the Shanghai Dragons emerged victorious.
All right now.
They're just going to keep running the Sombra.
Yep, we'll just beat Ding on the Sombra where he is most comfortable.
Linkser's going to have...
though, this could be interesting.
Yeah, Linkser's going to have a lot of opportunity to get solo kills and flank on A, as long as the rest of his team isn't getting steamrolled. But with the Bastion, the focus is on the Bastion, and that means Linkser has no pressure on him, and that gives him an opportunity to get those kills. He needs to get them. He needs to get a few kills before they can really start to get some ground here.
Getting set up here at the start. Teleporter going to be thrown down as they cut over to the side.
Oh, this is creative. I like this.
Moving bunker. Coming through again as Cool Matt operates on the Sombra. Everybody from the Shanghai Dragons staying huddled indoors.
Yeah, and he's sticking with the Symmetra for now. Let's see if he goes and swaps. I don't think so.
He's going to be setting up the next one.
They're just going to try to use
shift over. Yeah, just try to get lines of sight.
These rooftops.
Push over to the side. That's going to be Gamsu gone. Deleted by the Houston Outlaws. Cart still just inching forward at the moment. Ding going lower and lower. Linkser wins out again.
You know, it's really cool what they're doing because it turns the idea of the pirate ship on its head. It's like, what if we could just have high ground and have the pirate ship? What if we could be firing from above?
Well, that's going to be Raucous Find and Luffy Youngjin taken down. They will be able to kill off the Sombra, but it's not that far of a run for Cool Matt to rejoin in with the rest of the squad.
The Symmetra gives you...
He'll be swapping it up anyway.
Yeah, he'll swap anyways, but the Symmetra gives you the ability to put the Bastion wherever you want it. You always have positional advantage, whether it's high ground or flanking power. You don't need the passive healing of the cart. You don't need to be on the cart. You need to get the kills. Then you can jump on the cart with your Orisa and keep it rolling.
Oh, I saw Ding coming in nearby. Holt not going to be able to pull anybody outside.
Just over 1 out of 4 shots are crits, by the way. Headshots. We saw that stat just briefly.
Spy checking. So just trying to find Ding. Knows that he's constantly going to be looking somewhere. Try to win the next bout. Shanghai Dragons pushing forward. Youngjin going to get taken down as Linkser just sits here in the back. Makes a bit of damage from Luffy. Ding manages to find 2, but still the Houston Outlaws winning out with a couple of these kills. They get a little bit more. They might be able to advance given the faster run back times for them.
So, you know, I have to say, this is a bit odd from Panther given they played through the Widow meta in Korea and they're walking out into sight lines here.
Well, Dante managed to find 2 with the bronze before getting taken down by DM.
You never
over the top, Linkser gets him! Gets rid of that Zarya and then gets a left click spray to finish off Gamsu mid-charge.
The one time you're going to have a massive advantage as the Dragons versus the Widow is if you just let them push the card in, but you set up defensively on the high ground. So Linkser can't shoot you while he's outside. He enters and then you're fighting at an even playing field, but the Shanghai Dragons exposed themselves, gave Linkser way more options. We saw so much in Korea on this map, and it's disappointing to see the Dragons just waltz out, but hey, they can stabilize here with this EMP. They've got a grab, and there's no transcendence.
Waiting for his moment. He's trying to get Dante out of the sky. Will be able to do so. And he should be the first one taken down. Yes, he is. Hack now coming in onto point because he tries to go for the res. Unable to do so. Uma does manage to finish off the Zarya. Now Gamsu going to be gone. The front line broken for the Shanghai Dragons. as they further try to stabilize, but the cart's just gliding in the meantime. They finally will be able to contest this. About a meter away, but the kills are coming through melee style for Raucus and Muma. And point B is snagged. Nearly 5 minutes on the clock here for the Houston Outlaws, looking good.
It's such an amazing feeling, too, if you're Linkser right now, because you know this is the map you're subbed into. This is your role. You are the Widow God, right? You come in, Shanghai is giving you sight lines, and all you have to do is click on heads. There's no thinking here. It's all about repositioning. It's all about the headshots, right? And they get an incredible time bank through his pure mechanical skill alone, as well as the strategy we saw with the Symmetra there for the teleporting Bastion. But it worked well in the defense, it worked well in the attack. Now he's just got to close things out with the Zarya. Raucus built up a Transcendence, and all the time DM couldn't grab. So now they have the answer for that too. There's a lot of great things going right there that the Outlaws have going for them right now, including a missed jump here by DM. Oh no.
And he's down onto the low ground, not quite where he wants to be, but Kamsu is here to keep him some company. Grab's gonna be thrown in. Ops this one. The shield up. Muma trying to keep the team protected. Into the wall. Transcendence does manage to keep him alive. Sound barrier going to be committed from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Bomb thrown in from Coolmat, unable to find any kills. Makes it back into the back safely, however.
EMP is ready.
EMP will be thrown in. Muma instantly going to get collapsed on. And that will just be the near wipe coming through onto the members of the Houston Outlaws. As Boink does get finished out, and Coolmat, well,
it's rough.
We know what happens
when
here.
when you only have the trance, like you have to trance for the grav, but then you don't have the trance for the EMP. Sometimes the EMP comes first, doesn't really matter. It's usually the grav that comes first. But the point I'm trying to make here is, I think the Outlaws knew this is pretty likely a lost fight. They wanted to build as many ults through that fight as possible during the EMP, because you can still get damage done. This is where you can start to turn the tides of ult economy, is if you can force the trance out here from Luffy and build your grav at the same time in this fight. It's tough to do on low ground versus the high ground setup, but they're gonna have to make it work.
Well, Ding really has it out for Linkser, just hacking him at every twist and turn. This time it's gonna go on to Muma, however. Kamsu gonna be the Rhine gets taken down. So Houston Outlaws just gonna be waiting for Dante to rejoin them with that rally. So they continue pushing forward. Already a decent chunk of the time bank gonna be chewed up by the Shanghai Dragons. About 2 minutes gone. Linkser considering wrapping around to the high ground, but wants to play low with the rest of his squad.
More damage done for DM overall, you know, in these situations where he's on the high ground means that they're gonna match grav. And the advantages the Outlaws had are starting to wane. EMP is gonna make it even better here for the Dragons. Raucus doesn't have Transcendence yet, so he doesn't even have a response to this. Boink, if he can hit the barrier though, that's what they need. And he's caught!
Yeah, big Boink gonna be caught here. And that will be Muma
through the
taken
window.
Out. Yeah, looking for the additional little hacks here. Raucus will get hacked out. 2 kills going the way of Shanghai Dragons as they shut down yet another push.
Now, usually teams can track ultimates extremely well, but in this case, they both hacked Raucus and Boink and were able to see the check marks over their heads, so they physically have seen and know that both support ultimates are online. Really curious to see how the Shanghai Dragons approach this now that they've used their biggest card in the EMP. They could try to grab at an extremely forward position, try to take the fight away from the payload itself, or maybe they're just gonna look for a straight up engage where they look for a pick with a pin or setting up a shatter. But the support ultimates here are the biggest tools for the Outlaws. Raucus hacked, you can see they're looking for that.
Oh, grab gonna be used, but Coolmat takes it away. Defense Matrix snobs that one up. Shatter looking good for Kamsu, but still not gonna be leading to any kills. The sound barrier from Boink helps to keep them alive. Now the Transcendence is out from Raucus as he tried to move over onto the cart, continue this push. The VDM taken down Muma, and be exchanged.
They don't win the team fight, but they get both support ultimates, and that was always the goal. That's why they grabbed forward. They were able to force out the barrier there despite the eat on the grab. This is going to be a huge stagger for Gamsu, so that's a nice boon for them. He can't get back. They're going to cut him off here. Actually, he gets healed by Youngjin from above.
I mean, he's pushed so far away. Hack comes through on a Raucus. Fighting in the back, who now has another EMP ready to roll. Sound barrier starts things off for Coma as they charge forward. Gamsu gets a double with a fire strike. Now just going to be swinging away in close quarters. Members of the Houston Outlaws all falling to the ground.
There's just no way for the Outlaws to build those support ultimates. They used them both in the last fight, and Shanghai Dragons feel great about this. They can use theirs to out-heal. They traded them back, but still now they have a Graviton Surge coming up shortly. There's this one window for the Outlaws. This push is the only push where they know the Dragons don't have support ults, and they have their grab before DM has it. It's this push right now, or it's not gonna happen. Shanghai's another 3-0 this stage. Let's see if they can make it happen. Linkser cannot let this get absorbed. It has to be a good one. They're gonna fight, force fire on the
Shatter's gonna be coming through. Kamsu knocking him down. Linkser's gonna be taken out. They'll wait for him to rejoin unless he can delay long enough for him to run his way back to the cart, but the kills are coming through. The Shanghai Dragons halting them right here in front of the finish line, giving them a taste of victory, and then snatching it out right from underneath of them. The OT will tick down, and the Shanghai Dragons will take Junkertown. They've already taken this set, but they'll close it out with a 3-0.
The second 3-0 of, or actually, they got 3-0'd by the New York. I was thinking they 3-0'd New York, but we all know that didn't happen.
No.
But anyways, really good play by Gamsu there in the end to hit that shatter onto Linkser, knowing the way he would have to wrap around to force the fight onto the cart because they had high ground.
That was a crucial pick.
Beautiful plays from Shanghai throughout this series, really understanding how to disrupt the ult economy of the Houston Outlaws, and that's what they did on all three maps, but in particular on Anubis there and Junkertown especially, really just messing up the rhythm of the Outlaws in the pushes they were trying to make.
Well, solid performance here for the Shanghai Dragons. The Houston Outlaws, unfortunately, unable to get that victory to ride in with a bit of momentum into Dallas.
We're going to have to see how they do in Dallas when they go to Texas. With the home field advantage against some of their opponents, you know, I mean, that's what you're hoping for, to bounce back there, but it might be too late for them in terms of stage playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the battle for Texas in Dallas. Expect the crowd is going to be very dominant on the Dallas side. But guys, we do have Emily standing by down on the floor with Dia, so let's go ahead and throw down for the interview.
Hey guys, I'm here with Dia, and it's his first time back at the Overwatch League stage this season, so please give it up for Dia and the Shanghai Dragons. So Dia, what was it like coming back for the first time? 第一次回到守门先锋这个舞台，感觉怎么样呢？
兴奋，但还有一些小紧张啊。而且今天也赢了嘛，就是真正意义上对我而言的首胜，因为我参与了，我也贡献了。我现在就是差了一个握手。
I'm excited with a little bit of nervousness, but today's match was really significant to me because I felt like I contributed and we won. The only thing I'm missing is that I didn't get a chance to shake the other team's hands. So, your Ashe play was so impressive today, and it was really pivotal in the second map. So, do you have any advice for us to play Ashe on a more expert level? 那么今天在你第二张地图的时候，你打的爱神发挥的不错。那么对我们就是家里的观众朋友们来讲，有没有一些窍门可以跟我们分享呢？
艾什他的技能优势就比如说他的那个 shift 比如说可以一开始站在一些稍微低的地方，当有人去跳他的时候，他可以利用他的技能去逃跑或者推人呐，都可以。
I guess with Ashe, it comes with practice, and there's certain moments where, you know, Ashe can kind of like crouch, and she can run away easily. That's really about it. And yeah, thank you so much, Dia. Great game, and back to you guys, Wolf and Achilles.
This is one guy who likes to crouch and run away easily when he's on that.
That's any hero I play. I'm always just running away. I'm like a bit of a coward. No, I'm the one who's going in when I'm not supposed to be, but I don't have the rest of the Titans to back me up, so I just think that I'm Bumper. I just die instead, so I feed. But man, what a series that was. Shanghai Dragons continue to look good. They get another win under their belt.
Yeah.
Houston, you know, back to the drawing board a little bit, but guys, let's go ahead and figure out who the player of the match is on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. We're presented by Omen by HP as always, and it's Ding.
I think Ding, absolutely stellar performance again on the Pharah, and his Pharah play was good enough to shut down Raucus on both the Ana and the Moira, because there just isn't enough healing to contest the point and win the tank fight when all of your backline is being hit by rockets non-stop. And then we go into the later maps, he plays the Pharah here once again. Then we see him dominate with Sombra, as he's been doing all season. I think real honorable mentions this series, though, definitely Luffy on the Zenyatta, who was able to build trance in those critical moments, and also Dia, who was able to help them get that extra defense there and bring the draw to reality on Anubis.
And also Linkser for constantly going toe-to-toe alongside Ding, shutting him down in those very up-close and personal moments with a Widowmaker. It's always a treat to see him play it. Unfortunately, it doesn't lead to a victory, but still great to see.
Dia gets his first win. Emotional moment for him, no doubt. He's going to have to do it in a map 4 in the future if he wants to cross the stage.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in on Disney XD. If you want to watch the next matchups, make sure you shift over to Twitch.tv or ESPN3, because we got Hangzhou Spark coming up against San Francisco Shock. Match of the week. You don't want to miss it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey man, what's up?
You need anything for today?
Nah man, I think I'm set.
Big day today, man?
Yeah, huge. Let's play some Overwatch.